Hello everyone, welcome to Training Tip Tuesday. I'm Laura King and I'm here to help you train your dogs and cats to be therapy animals and adventure pets. Today we're going to be talking about some signs that you and your pet might make a good therapy animal team. Yes, you and your pet. It's not just about your pet when we're talking about therapy animal training. Both of you need to have what it takes to be a successful therapy animal team. And if you don't, that's okay. Not every person nor every pet is cut out for therapy animal work, and there's nothing wrong with that. We can all make a positive impact in our community in a bunch of different ways, but we're focusing on therapy animal teams today, so that's what we're going to talk about. First, we'll start with your pet. Number one, your pet should confidently seek out interactions with other people. This is definitely one of the most important traits of a therapy animal. It's also one that I see a lot of pet owners misunderstanding. They think their pet is calm and confident when greeting others, but it's not. So it's really important that you take some time to learn about canine or feline body language, depending on what pet you have, and that you take some time to observe your own pet individually to make sure that the body language they're displaying when they interact with strangers is calm and confident body language, happy body language. Because a lot of times we have pets that learn to appease strangers because they're uncomfortable or nervous, so they may flip onto their back right away in a submissive posture that we interpret as asking for belly rubs, but they're actually just saying, please don't view me as a threat, I'm really nervous and uncomfortable. So we want to make sure that we're taking a look at those behaviors, not just that your pet approaches strangers, people they don't know, for greetings with your permission, but that they're doing it happily, loose, wiggly body language, calm and confident, not kind of crouched down, ears back, slowly approaching. They're greeting that person, but they're not necessarily comfortable during that interaction. Another thing that I see a lot of people kind of write their pet off, say, we can't do therapy animal work because my dog jumps on visitors to our home, even people out and about. They get so excited they just jump all over them or knock them over, and that's not going to work out as a therapy animal, so we can't do it. Well, actually, your pet may have what it takes to be a therapy animal. They just need a little training to work on their manners. If they're that excited to see somebody, that eager to greet somebody, they may be ready to rock therapy animal visits as soon as they learn how to greet them appropriately. Just like we have to teach little ones that you can't just run up and tackle someone you don't know with a hug. Maybe we start with a handshake, right? We ease into those interactions. Our dogs and cats have to learn that too sometimes. So don't write your pet off if their greetings are kind of overly enthusiastic, but do take a look at if your pet is eagerly interacting calmly and confidently, or if they're showing some appeasement behaviors, submissive behaviors, or only seeking out attention from select people and kind of avoiding others. One of the common people to avoid in the dog world are men with hats or beards. If your dog isn't used to that, they can sometimes be a little afraid of them. Training may help them to overcome that fear, and you may even still make a great therapy animal team, but it's important that we take a look at how our pet feels in these situations. What we're asking for from a therapy animal is not what dogs and cats have been selectively bred for over the years. Usually, most pets just live with one family. They may have family and friends over occasionally, but if the cat wants to run and hide when visitors come over, or the dog just needs to be crated so they don't jump on people, it's not an issue. But for therapy animals, we're asking them to invite strangers into their close personal space and to enjoy it. And that's just not something that we've necessarily focused on with all the breeding that we've done for dogs and cats. So we are finding those diamonds in the rough when we're looking for a therapy animal, when we're looking for a pet that actually enjoys interacting with any and every stranger out there. If you've got that pet, you probably have a therapy animal potential, right? Therapy animal potential. It might not be trained up to where we want it to be, but there's potential there. You also want to make sure that your pet isn't scared of loud, surprising noises or really just novel environments. So we want to make sure that your pet recovers quickly when they experience something new or unsettling. If there's a loud boom, maybe thunder or fireworks, or if you just accidentally knock over a chair or drop a metal bowl, how does your pet react? If they startle, that's normal, right? If you startle me, I'm going to maybe scream, I might jump. There's a lot of reactions that will come out, but I'm not going to stay in a state of panic for the rest of the day. I'm going to calm back down and go about my daily life. So if your pet jumps or maybe even lets out a little woof or meow when something startles them, that's not the end of the world if you're still hoping to be a therapy animal team. What we want to avoid are pets that tremble, hide, avoid the area where that noise or object was for the rest of the day. Those sort of reactions tell us that they need some confidence boosting training, but they may not have what it takes to be stable in all of the environments that get thrown at a therapy animal. We encounter a lot of different things when we're out and about on visits, so it's important that your pet is able to recover if they get startled, and that they're just calm in general, that things like that may startle them a little bit, but they revert back to calm and confident right away. They're not uncomfortable, stressed, on edge whenever they get into a new situation. You also want to make sure that your pet enjoys petting all over by anyone. A lot of us will say, of course they love being pet all over, but think about it. Cats are probably our number one culprits for this one. We have 2 cats. Azula actually loves tummy rubs. She'll flop on her back and show you her belly, and she enjoys being pat on her belly. May will flop on her back and show you her belly, and what does she do if you go to pet her belly? She attacks in a playful way. It's not actually vicious or aggressive, but that's not going to be an ideal reaction if someone tries to pet her during the therapy animal visit. Maybe your pet is uncomfortable with their paws or tail being handled. Obviously, we're always going to encourage those that are interacting with our therapy animal team to pet our therapy animal in an appropriate location, like the back of their head, their back, their chest. But odds are that at some point during therapy animal visits, somebody's going to grab your pet's tail or grab a paw. And if they're reacting negatively or even aggressively to that, that's not going to be a good fit for therapy animal work. So when we're petting our pets all over, or when our friends and family come over and are petting them all over, we want to take a look at how our pets react to being touched anywhere. Do they kind of move their booty around to avoid their tail being touched? Do they mouth or lick at you when you grab their paw or pet their belly? These are things we want to keep an eye on, not necessarily that you have a terribly naughty dog or cat, but that they may not actually enjoy being touched all over their body, and therefore they probably won't enjoy therapy animal visits because they have to be comfortable being pet all over by anyone, right? Whether it's someone they just met or someone they've known for a long time. Another fun indicator that your pet may make a good therapy animal is that your pet is comfortable playing with toys or taking treats no matter where you are or what's going on around you. You might think that sounds silly because you're like, when are we going to play with toys on a therapy animal visit? But if your pet is calm, confident, and comfortable enough to grab a toy and play with it in a brand new environment, that tells us they're probably calm, confident, and comfortable enough to interact without being too stressed out. If you head out to a pet-friendly store like PetSmart or Petco, where it's really busy with animal smells and maybe even other animals, and your pet refuses to look at you or take a treat because they're just so excited about all the smells and everything that they can find on the floor, well, that's not a great sign that they're going to be calm and focused enough to engage politely during a therapy animal visit. We want to make sure that our pets are comfortable looking at us and will take treats, whether it's the yummiest treat they've ever had or even just a plain old kibble from their everyday meal. They should be eagerly taking those treats no matter where they are or what's going on around them. That shows us that they've got the calm and the focus that they need to be a successful therapy animal. Again, training can help with that. Sometimes we need to adjust their nutrition or their health to get them eagerly taking food or even eagerly playing with toys. Obviously, there's training we can do to help them be calmer and more focused, more confident in new situations. But if your pet's already showing these awesome behaviors, then we know that we're on the right path. And if they're struggling to take treats or to play, we may be able to do training to offset that. But will they actually enjoy being out and about in novel situations all the time? Maybe not. So it's something we want to keep considering and thinking about, so that we're making sure we're setting our pet up for success and not trying to force a square peg into a round hole. The last one for your pet, before we move on to you, is that your pet reacts well to accidental ouches. Sometimes things happen, and again, on therapy animal visits, it's almost guaranteed that at one point or another, something's going to accidentally happen to your pet. If you're visiting a nursing home, they may get squished, stepped on, rolled over by a wheelchair. How is your pet going to react to that if that happens? Obviously, we want to do everything in our power to advocate for our pets, keep an eye out, make sure we're protecting that tail and not letting it get stepped on or rolled over. But accidents happen sometimes, and we want to make sure our pets react in a way that's safe for them and everyone around them. Maybe you're working with children, dementia patients, other special needs, and they inadvertently grab really hard on your pet's fur and pull a little bit before you can intervene quickly and make them let go. Make sure your pet's comfortable and calm. How is your pet going to react to that? An accidental ouch, not on purpose, right? We don't want to let that happen, of course. So we want to do our best to make sure those accidental ouches never happen either, but odds are they might. So if your pet is likely to snap or try to bite, or even just kind of holds a grudge a little bit, I hesitate to use that phrase because that's pretty anthropomorphizing. They're not actually humans, but if that happens to your pet, if you've ever accidentally stepped on your pet's paw or tail around the house, guilty, I've done it, because sometimes they're just underfoot, right? If that happens, does your pet avoid you for the rest of the day? Or do they just get over it and say, I know you didn't mean it, I still want love and attention from you? Those pets that bounce back, that don't snap or growl or try to bite, those are pets that might make good therapy animals. There's nothing wrong with snapping at you or even avoiding you or the area where the accidental ouch happened for the rest of the day, because that's kind of logical. They're like, hey, that was uncomfortable, I didn't like that. But that means they might not be a good therapy animal, because they're going to have to recover from that stuff really quickly to continue to be successful with their visit. So those are the signs that your pet might make a good part of a therapy animal team. But how about you? Number one, you have to have compassion for both your pet and your community for therapy animal work. There's a lot of pet people out there that tell me they love animals way more than humans. And that's perfectly fine, and I love animals too. But a big part of therapy animal work is showing love to our fellow humans, to our neighbors, to our community. So if you're not looking to interact with strangers on a regular basis, to show compassion and love to people that may make you a little uncomfortable at times during your interactions with them, it's probably not a good fit for you. And that's okay. Not all of us are confident and comfortable interacting with strangers on a regular basis, just like not all pets are. But if you aren't, then you just might want to look at a different opportunity to serve your community with your pets without having to have all of that human interaction, right? And we also want to be compassionate towards our pets. If having a therapy animal and being part of a therapy animal team is a lifelong dream of yours, it can be really hard to show compassion to a pet that doesn't really enjoy therapy animal work. Maybe it's just a little nervous, a little uncomfortable. In those situations, they can handle it. They might even be able to pass a certification test, but they don't love it. we have to be able to show compassion to our pets and say, hey, if you don't love this, you don't have to do this. Being a therapy animal is never mandatory. It's voluntary. It's not something that you have to do. So we want to make sure that we're setting our pet up for success with everything we do with them, whether it's a visit as a therapy animal team or training beforehand or training after we've started visits and become a certified team. It's important that we're having compassion on our pet and taking their individual needs under advisement, right? We're not just focused on what I want to do a therapy animal team thing. I want to be this. What does my pet enjoy? Because it's not mandatory work, and we shouldn't make it that if it's not something our pet enjoys. Lastly, you have to be ready to put in the work. No matter how perfectly your pet's temperament matches up with all of those things that are needed to be a good therapy animal, they are still going to need training so that you can set them up for success. They're going to need training to get ready to pass the therapy animal certification test, but they're also going to need training for the rest of your life, because no matter how much therapy animal work you do, I can almost guarantee that you'll spend more time with your pet outside of therapy animal work than you do on therapy animal visits. So you want to make sure you're not just focusing on therapy animal training, but training for the rest of life's adventures too. You also want to make sure that you're ready to keep putting that work in. Training is a lifelong process. Just because you and your pet have passed a therapy animal team certification does not mean that training is over, especially as you add more and more visits for your pet as a therapy animal. You're going to need to do training specific for each of those situations, and just plain old maintenance training to maintain your pet's skills and maybe even push them a little further so they can become a better and better therapy animal. So there you have it. Those are some signs that you and your pet may be cut out for therapy animal work. I'd love to hear if you feel like you and your pet have all of those signs that you'll be a therapy animal team that we just talked about, or if there's some you have questions about. Stop by in the comments, let me know your thoughts. And once you've assessed whether or not you and your pet will make a good therapy animal team, then it's time to get to work. So make sure you tune in for future Training Tip Tuesdays so that you can continue to train your pet and hopefully become a certified therapy animal handler team. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next week, Tuesday, for our next Training Tip Tuesday. Bye, everybody.